Yo, what is going on, everybody? Hello and welcome to our first ever here one-on-one with CST Gaming. And who better to have with us here today than my good friend XP72. I don't think this man requires any introduction. I think everybody in my chat for sure 100% knows who he is. However, I'd like to first welcome everybody in chat. Mamba, Trust Set Simulation, welcome Turbo, Bobby, JD Aviation is in the house, MSFS, Dominic, Chelmo, Mickey Mike, what's up, dude? We got Major Mark, what's going on, man? Sherwin Scott, welcome. Turbo, welcome as always, guys. Thank you so much for stopping on by. Let's have some fun, man. First thing first, obviously everybody knows who I am, CST Gaming here. Mello is my real name, but I like to start if by any rare chance there is one person in chat that doesn't know who our good friend XP72 is, I like to go ahead and give you a couple of minutes to kind of introduce yourself and tell us who you are and that type of stuff.
Wow. First of all, CST, let me say, that intro music, that got me pumping. I was like, yo, I'm rocking to the beat like We get ready to do something special right here, man. I love that intro. That intro is actually fire. You saw me rocking my head.
It
You're
still
like,
gets me,
yeah,
man. It still gets me too. So
I know, man. I know. People don't understand, man. For streamers, intro music is not just only for the audience, but it's for us to get into the mood to fly. And, with life being busy and stresses and different things going on, then you sit down with the lights and the camera in front of your face. You need something to wake you up. And that music right there woke me up, man. So that's good.
just get pumped, you know.
Thank you, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A little bit about me, real quick. I'm not even gonna make it long. I want to say it's just about 6 years now. I stumbled upon flight simming and started streaming for maybe 5 of those 6 years or something like that. And I used to work in the airline industry before. I was a flight attendant for two different airlines for Tower Air, best airline ever. It was a charter company, and also United Airline. I worked with them up until 9/11. Then I did a completely different career because I got furloughed from it. But I've always loved aviation ever since that, man. I've always been in aviation, and I'm an aviation enthusiast. Yes, I'm biased against GA planes. I prefer airliners and jets, but that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, I that's what I do Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays on YouTube. I just come out and I have a good time with you guys, and I fly around and create some conga lines and some stuff. So that's about me, man. I just love aviation and flying and stuff. So yeah, thank you for the invite on the channel, brother. I appreciate it, man.
Well,
Definitely.
I appreciate you accepting it. I am humble and thankful that that you said yes, let's do it. So that's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. You know, when you first start out with this thing, obviously you have the people that you watch, right, and you want to emulate when you're flying or the way they carry themselves, the way they act on stream, you know, and for the longest time, you've been one of those people for me, right? It's like, okay, yes, uh, you know, he's always has a smile on his face, positive attitude, and you know, he's having a good time, and that's what you want to do, right? You don't want to be on stream, you know. Obviously, we all have our bad days, right? And usually that's what I think for me, you know, those days are probably the days you should not be streaming, right? Maybe take a chill pill, you know, relax for a little bit, because you don't want to bring that onto the stream. So that's one thing that I always admired about you, right? You're always happy. You always uh, uh, have that good, you know, let's have some fun mentality when you start streaming, when you go. And like you said, you know, that music, that little intro, that preparation, get you going, get you pumping. It's almost like you starting a show. So uh that's awesome. I used to say the same thing about your intro music, you know, that vibe, you know, that the uh
Yes.
it's just every time, you know, we be in the Discord whenever you're about to go streaming, and we're singing along, and you know, we're getting ready, we're like, oh yeah, yes, yes, you know, like, oh, let's
Yes.
go.
Yes. It's
So
true.
yeah, uh
Look,
eh, eh,
it's like this, man. We this is our hobby, right? First,
right,
before anything else, this is a hobby. We got to treat it as a hobby. And if we have to enjoy it, and if we're not enjoying it, then why bother? The audience knows when you're not enjoying it. The audience
exactly.
knows when you have a bad day. Like, XP, what's up, man? Why does your face look like that? Or, you did you sleep last night? Or, so you gotta come with it. You gotta bring it every single time. You can't phone it in, and because they're looking at you and watching. So yeah, absolutely, that is very important and critical to what we do as flight simmers and streamers, especially, man. Definitely, that's it.
Nice, nice. All right, so I have a few notes, a few things that I wanted to go with you on, and first thing first, you know, big up, yes, yes, it's something that is always said on XP72 stream, right? So my question to you is like, where did that come from? When did that start? You know, kind of like you look at Captain Canada, for example. He's got the no floaties, right? No floating, no floating. That's a way of saying thanks or whatever. And you got your big up, yes, yes. Well, big up is to me is like a way of saying, you know, hey, thank you or welcome or you know, that type of stuff, right? And the yes, yes thing, you know, that's when did that start, right? When did you were you singing one day and it stuck or something, or how did
Well,
that come about?
both of those are didn't start right away. If you watch my old videos when I just started streaming, I never used to say any of those things. As time goes by, you start getting comfortable with the audience, you start getting comfortable with yourself, you start getting relaxed. Those things are because I'm Jamaican. Those are two Jamaican sayings. Big up is a Jamaican saying. It's like, yo, respect, man.
Okay.
Welcome. You know, hey, what's going on, XPO? Big up. You know, it's a Jamaican slang like for, hey, what's up, man?
There you
You
go.
know, what's up? You know, how you doing? It's like
Makes
that.
sense.
How
Makes
you
sense.
doing? It's like big up. And then the yes, yes part is literally from a Jamaican artist. His name is Munga or something like that, and he used to say it in his songs. He's like he will call his own name. He's like, "This is Munga Honorable." Yes, yes. You know, it sounded good. And then if you know the sprinter Hussein Bolt, he's a Jamaican sprinter.
Yep.
I remember before he broke the world record, right, for the 100-meter, he was so relaxed on the starting point, and that's one of the things he said before he broke the record. I was like, I like that. I started
That's it.
and then chat started typing it in chat. They're like, you have to make a yes, yes emoji. You
There you
can't
go.
not do it. So
Awesome.
it's one of those things, man. It's you know, and the more you get on camera and stream, the more you're gonna develop your own little personality. Captain Canada, myself, Blue, you, all of us have that. You know what I mean? That we're gonna develop that's differentiate us from everybody else, which is pretty cool.
That little
It's
thing,
very
yeah.
nice, bro.
Me
Yeah,
being a
for real.
military background, I went with the little salute thing, right? So it's always one of
Yeah.
those things that I do salute, salute, salute. But yeah, I know I get it, man. That's awesome, dude. Um, I think you already touched on this, but let's bring this up again. Real world experience in flying. I think you, from what I remember, you in the past, you saying you used to be a flight attendant.
Yeah. Yeah. Used to be
Okay,
a flight attendant. The way that came, okay, so my very first time on an airplane is leaving Jamaica and go to New York City, Brooklyn, straight. And I never touched an airplane. That was my first and only flight. Never touched an airplane until like what, 5 years later. I got laid off from a job that I was doing. I went to school for a completely different career. I have a degree in something completely different than my career now. And I got a job there. I got laid off, and I was looking for work. And I had saw an advertising in a newspaper like, "Hey, do you want to see the world? Come to JFK." It was JFK, like, "Come to the JFK Hilton. In the lobby, we have an interview process with people." So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go. And I didn't really dress up. I wore like a back in those days. There was like a mustard jacket I was wearing and jeans, you know, with a shirt underneath. And I go, man, and all these people are like dressed to the nines in this meeting room. I'm like, uh-oh, I'm in the wrong place. I'm not even dressed for this. But what it was a charter airline. They were doing an open house for people who want to fly, you know, be flight attendants. I didn't realize what it was. And they're like, yo, everybody in this room right now, you need to come up and speak about yourself for 5 minutes. And I start seeing people freaking out. They're like, people couldn't do it, bro. But I went up there. I talked about a little bit about Jamaica and myself. I was like, all right, that's it. Let me get this job. Let me go. And when I was leaving, they're like, somebody handed me a paper and go, hey, come back to Hangar 5 in JFK. We need to talk to you some more. Long story short, that's the first airline I work for, which is a charter company. Best flying ever in my life. Better than United.
nice,
We did military charters. You're ex-military. We took all the troops to Haneda, Narita, Kuwait, Bosnia. We are all over the world. We go to Germany. Like my first like year of flying, I was going to all these different countries on charter flights, and half of those flights, by the way, were empty because we have to position the planes from one place to the next to get new passengers. And that's when I started doing jump seating in the cockpit for takeoff and landing. I have some old VHF videotapes of me in the cockpit with the headset on, listening. I have no idea what they were saying. They didn't have an FMC back then. They had like a SIVA. I remember them entering stuff. There was a flight engineer, but it's just fascinating to me. And that's how I started in the flight attendant thing. I got laid off from that company, went out of business. I went to United. It wasn't the same kind of flying, you know, it was like more local stuff and smaller planes and MD-80s and whatever they had, you know, 75s and 777s. But the charter was all 747s. I fell in love with that plane, the 200 series. It's like ridiculous. So that's how I got into flying. And
nice.
that's what got me into flight simming fast forward years later, you know, just by accident. But that's how it started, man. So, yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I'm getting told there's reverb on my microphone. I kind of switched some stuff around. Let me know if that's better, guys. Um, if it's
Yeah,
not,
you sound good. You sound
yeah,
good.
if it's not too bad, just let me know. Okay, cool. That's awesome, dude. So, uh, long story short, you do have real flying experience, but as a flight attendant, obviously not as a pilot.
Yeah,
And
not
then
as a pilot.
you have your uh your GA type stuff, plus the most recent
Oh boy.
jet flying experience, right? I mean, that can't go unnoticed. Um,
Man, yeah, yeah, yeah.
we'll touch on that here very very soon. But I kind of wanted to go on and talk about when and what made you start your YouTube channel. So the other day, I went into this rabbit hole of going onto your channel and going from oldest video, right, and kind of I started taking a look at. But you see that you started streaming, but there's just really no telling on why you did it. What made you start streaming? What made you, oh, you know what? I'm gonna start streaming. Was it did you get inspiration from someone else, or was it something that you just, you know what? Let me start streaming my experience. Maybe I can help some people out. What was it that made you, kind of go that route?
Once I discovered flight simming and I started doing it myself, I had an old MacBook or whatever, and I couldn't get FSX or P3D, but I got X-Plane, so I started. That's where my name came from, by the way. And I was flying now. It's like, man, this is good. People need to see this. Does anybody know about this stuff? I didn't know that there's like a whole community out there, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to record my flights and put it on the internet so people can watch it because people need to know that this exists, right? Little did I know it was a big community from a long time ago, right? And so I try to make videos for YouTube, and I wasn't successful at it because my mic wasn't on, it didn't record properly, I didn't have enough hard drive space. So it was hard because you have to do the flight, you got to record it, you got to go back, edit it, listen to it, make it a nice little package, maybe put some music to it, and then upload it. Too big a process. I realized that you could stream it to YouTube. YouTube has a video that you can actually go into a little editor that they had and just cut out certain segments of the flight. And I did that for a little bit. Like I'd do a flight on YouTube, nobody was watching, but I go back and cut off like the dead parts and just show you the takeoff, cruise, and landing. And that worked for a while until I just got tired of like, you know what? I'm not even going to edit this. I'm just going to do it. And I started just streaming, one person, two people, three people, and before you know it, people are watching me stream, and I was shocked. I didn't have a camera either. I never had a camera. It was just me talking a lot. I mean, I remember talking to like one person for like an hour, in my live stream. It was tough. You know what I mean? And then I finally found this old webcam that I had. It was a P3i from like PlayStation. It wasn't even a real webcam. And I like got the software to make it become a webcam, and you could see my earlier videos looked like a potato. Like it was bad. But I made it work. And then I graduated and I went to Walmart and I bought like a construction paper green. And I heard about green screen, so I made my own green screen out of like cardboard and like green paper. I used that for a couple of years until my wife was like, "Bro, you need to buy a proper green screen. This is not working," because you can see like the tape in the middle of it and stuff, you know. But that's how I started streaming, is because I wanted to make videos. I wasn't good at making videos at all. I didn't have the proper software. I didn't have nothing right. So I was like, you know what? Live stream it is. Whatever happens on live stream happens. I don't care anymore. And that's how it started. That's how I started streaming.
I mean, and that's the
Pretty simple.
thing. I think that's what it takes, right? If you want to do something, you just got to do it, right? You got
Yeah.
to start somewhere, right? And I have a lot of people, always ask, "Hey, man, what should I do?" Hey, man, start with what you're comfortable with and work your way from there. You don't have to have the most expensive equipment. You don't need the 4K monitors. You don't need. If you just, it's when you stream. I think it's more about you than what you're doing, right? It's a message you're portraying. It's your character. It's your uniqueness, right? And that's why you are, XP, right? Everybody knows who XP72 is. That's why Captain Canada is Captain Canada. Everybody's got their own unique personalities and that thing. That's I think that's the 80% of the game when it comes to streaming, right? Is being that personality, being that person that people like to enjoy spending time with and talking to and all the good stuff. And then obviously, whether it's ATS or flight simming or whatever it is that you're doing, right? That's something else that it can go along with it as well, I think.
100%
But
right. 100%. It's all personality, because anybody can go fly their own planes if they want, but they decide to watch you because there's something that you do that they like how you do it or whatever. And we all different. we are all different, different audience, like different people. We don't all follow the same streamers. Some people cross over to different streamers, right? They'll have, all of us together, but some people just don't, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's
Yeah.
they just don't.
And
They don't like it like that. Yeah,
Mr. Scott says, Sherman Scott said, having a supportive wife is amazing. I tell you what, that is on the head, dude. You nailed it on the
100%.
head. You don't even know, how much time people, me, I can't even imagine like Blue and you and those people that record, edit, and they put out all this content, right? But you can't even imagine how many times my wife is like, "Can you please get off the damn computer and let's go do something," right? And it's like, "Oh, I gotta edit this video. I gotta do this. I gotta stream tomorrow. I gotta figure out a route. I gotta do," and it's like, yes, having a
I'll,
supporting
I'll give
significant
you
other is
I'll give
important.
you a tip on that, and anybody who wants to stream and you have a spouse, say yes to everything that they ask you to do as far as going out. Even if you don't want to go, you don't want to do it, say yes. I said, babe, put it on the calendar, I'll go. Can I go to my mother-in-law's? No, not really, but yeah, I'll go. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
Or whatever. Because that's their time. Because they know once you sit down
Absolutely,
in front of the computer, it's not 20 minutes, it's not 1 hour, it's like 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? So say yes to all that they want to do. And it's like a balance, man. It's like a balance.
absolutely,
So yeah, for real.
100%.
Definitely.
Um, I think we already covered it. I was going to ask you, best advice to give someone who wants to start streaming, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, whatever. There's so many options nowadays with TikTok and Facebook. But if you want to touch on it some more, please feel free.
Now, really quick. I've been asking this many times. Really quick. Do it. Start it. You will learn what to do better and what to keep. If you never did it, you're not going to know. Just do it. Second advice: set a schedule. People know where to find you, when to find you. You're like a soap opera. You know what I'm saying? You're a TV show now, and your favorite show comes on whatever channel at whatever time of the day. They know where to find you. Oh, he's always on at this time of the day, whether it's midnight, mid-afternoon, morning. That's your slot. Now it's difficult because there's real world. People have school, people have work, people have families, but do it. Just start it. You will learn so much more when you're doing it. You learn what to keep and what to change. If you never start it, you're not going to do it. That's all I
That's it.
say. You learn a lot about yourself. So yeah, that's simple.
Absolutely. And and obviously another cool thing that you gain, I think, when you start streaming and you actually do have that camera, you gain that communication skill as well. Because you can see, like, even myself, even you, when you first start doing it, you're a little bit more nervous, more reserved, right? You don't talk too much. But then you kind of get that confidence going, right? Okay, yes, I'm on camera, I'm good, I can talk, I can speak, right? And it just builds up from there, right? So if you think, I think I say that if you think you're not doing a very good job, keep at it. You're gonna get better with time, right? Practice, time, repetition. And I think one of the main things that I've learned from a lot of people that I've asked the same question is you gotta have a schedule and you gotta maintain that schedule. Because people are gonna want to know when is XP live, when is CST live, when is Captain Canada live, right? So yeah, it's obviously life happens. You're not sometimes you say, you know what, I know that we're scheduled to stream on Friday or Saturday or whatever, but it's not gonna happen. I got family things going on. They understand, obviously, but I think even a schedule that way people know exactly when CST or when XP or when anybody's live is very important, right? Um, because they can always count on it. They can always count on it. Be like, okay, yeah, I know it's Thursday. I know Captain Canada streams twice on Thursday, or it's Friday. I know XP is going to be live at 7 p.m. Right? So I think that's important because we become, I say we, but I don't think I'm quite there yet. But I think people like you and Blue and Captain Canada have become almost like entertainment for a lot of us, right?
You're there
So
too, man.
right,
You're there
so
as well.
so
You're on a lot of people's rotation now. So yeah,
we'll,
trust
we'll
me.
get there.
And
We'll
before,
get there.
and let's say this real quick. Before us, there were other guys that we used to
Absolutely,
watch. Yeah, Cat
absolutely.
Strader,
Oh,
Belgiode, Citation Max, and a bunch of other guys I used to watch. I used to stay up on Twitch and in my iPad in my bed and watch live streams till I fall asleep. It was crazy.
some of
So
this. There's a
yeah.
lot of OGs too, man, in the
Oh,
game too.
geez, man, exactly. But
OGs,
yeah, exactly. But
absolutely.
definitely, man. I agreed. I agreed with you. Yeah.
So one conversation I want to say, like, almost want to call it an argument because it almost turns into an argument, and that's kind of like when you got to pull back and be like, okay, you know what? It's not that complete. It's not that important, right? So let's call it a debate. One debate that goes on a lot in my Discord. Is the X-Plane versus Microsoft Flight Sim and vice versa. And I don't want to go into it. So the way I'm going to pose this question to you is, I double on X-Plane as well, right? I fly on X-Plane. I fly on Microsoft Flight Sim. When I get the hitch for a plane that I don't have on Microsoft, I go to X-Plane. My opinions, everybody knows it. X-Plane is a good sim, but I think that Microsoft Flight Sim is doing something above and beyond, right? And that's my opinion, right? Wrong, right, indifferent. That's what the opinion is. But when I get the itch to fly a 7.5 or a 7.6 or one of those planes that I don't have, then that's what I go, right? It's a full back almost for me. X-Plane is, right? So the way I know that you the same way. You fly both sims. You're indifferent. You're like, hey, I like them both. I got my 777 here. I got my 777 there. I compared it to. Sometimes I feel like flying this plane. Sometimes I feel like flying this plane. So um, you officially started on X plane. If I'm not mistaken, that's what you were saying. And now you kind of keep it both in the rotation type deal. So the question that I'm going to ask you, since we already know kind of what you feel about it, if you want to elaborate, that's fine. But I'm going to say this. I'm not going to ask you what your favorite sim is and why. I'm going to ask you where which planes are your favorite on. Oh, pick one or two. Top two planes to fly on X plane and top two planes that you will fly on Microsoft Flight Simulator today.
Good, great. That's actually a great question because that actually is part of my answer. Thinking about it, I know we're going to talk about Flight Sim 24, because I just
Absolutely.
came back from their presentation and we got to talk about that too. But
Real quick,
before I make the two,
there's one person from Zero Flies. Thank you for bringing that name up because that's one of the OGs right there,
yep,
Mr.
Matt Davies.
Matt Davies. Thank you for that. Appreciate
Exactly.
you.
It's like this. Um, Look, let me answer it this way. We all know Microsoft is the better looking sim, period, hands down. Every time you fly, you're coming for an approach somewhere, you're like, wow, you're actually looking out the window when you should be like landing. You know what I'm saying? It's just killer. And 2024 is going to be even better. Like, it's ridiculous how good it is. The differences between the two also was the flight model, as we discussed before, as we always talk about. And yeah, X-Plane has a better flight model. Period. End of story. And Microsoft knew it. As a matter of fact, I have an interview dropping tomorrow with Asoba Studios. His voice telling you exactly what happened in 2020 and what 2024 is, and that will set a record straight. But I fly both sims based on airplanes, and that's a good question. The two airplanes that I will go back to X-Plane for right now as it stands, one of them is in both sims. The 777 version 2 from Flight Factor, I will always go back and fly that plane. There's something about that plane and the way they did it. And it's not even like the sim anymore. It's just like, it's plane versus plane, right? So I Builds has the A300 in X-Plane and they have it in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I can honestly say that both of them are like equal. You know, both of them have little pluses and minuses depending on the sim you fly, but they're like equal. It's enjoyable to fly, man. Like, that's a head-to-head competition between the two sims, plane for plane. We're not talking scenery. We're talking plane for plane. But one I'll go back to X-Plane for is the Flight Factor version 2 and the TOBII A321neo. That's
Nice.
it. Now, it used to be the Zebo, and PMDG kind of won me over. You know what I'm saying? It kind of won me over where it's good enough to fly, and the Zebo has some dark cockpit issues that I don't like that X-Plane hasn't solved yet, and hopefully they do. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's the A321neo from Tolis and the Flight Factor 777 version 2. Those are the two planes that I'll go to X-Plane for any day of the week because they fly remarkably. Even though the Flight Factor is still in beta and still VNAV is in baby stages right now, I love that plane. I love the integration of the old school EFB that they kept. They could have done a new EFB. They went for like an old school EFB where all the things are pretty much almost one for one in the real old 200 planes. Nobody else has done that, right? Even though there's a PMDG one, which is just as good, but it's a different EFB. You know what I'm saying? those are the two planes I'll go to X-Plane for any day of the week, no matter what. And to further along this, ask yourself this question: when all the planes are available in Microsoft, will you go back to X-Plane? And my answer is yeah, I will. It's sometimes you just want a difference. It's two different sims. They feel different. They sound different too. Right? X-Plane is not a looker, but the atmospherics is nice. If you're at 30,000 feet between the two sims, you're literally not really noticing the difference. Now, 2024's got some new clouds. You got to look at those too. You know what I'm saying? But like atmospheric wise, once you're up there in cruise and shit, it's only when you're it's only when you're coming down to land in X-Plane, you're like, okay, yeah, this is X-Plane. Depending on what scenery you have installed or ortho or no ortho or whatever the case may be. You know, but those are the two planes. Microsoft 2024. Ooh man, wow. Just I gotta say is wow, wow, wow. That's it. I'm not sure. Did you ask me about two planes in Microsoft, or was it just for X-Plane only?
I did. I actually asked you for top two planes on Microsoft as well.
Well, top two plane Microsoft, PMDG 777, and the Phoenix A321 IAEs. Those are my top two. Those are my two go-to planes in Microsoft that,
Nice.
first of all, the Phoenix integration with GSX is just ridiculous. I love it. One flip, blip, it starts loading. It does everything for you. Passengers sit down in the airplane. They're looking around like, are you kidding me, bro? It sounds good. It looks good. It flies good. It's just nice. Phoenix is one of those developers just knocked it out of the park for $40. Are you kidding me? Or $50 or whatever. It's crazy, right? And then, I thought I would choose the PMDG 737 over the 777. No, 777 all day long. I flew it last night. Butter landing. I think one of my best landing. I'm getting better at that thing over after so many years. Finally getting good at landings. 777 also is good. I had like 400 passengers in the cabin, and you could see all 400 of them. It's nuts. You know what I'm saying? So
Nice.
those are the two. Yeah, those are the two. Now the Max is coming off at 24. Oh Lord, that's gonna change a whole nother thing. But
Oh
we'll
yeah.
talk about it. But yeah,
Are you talking about the Asobo Max, or are you talking about the PMDG or the iFly?
all of them, bro. There's gonna be three Maxes. We spent 4 years with like 18 A320s and one 737. Now we're getting three Maxes, man. A Sobo Max, which I flew. I will talk about it. The iFly, you understand? And the PMDG. It's ridiculous. It's gonna be so good. Like if this is not the happiest time for you in flight simming, you're in the wrong.
If you're a flight simmer, it's a good time to be alive. And I'll tell you,
Yeah,
we're going from, boy, I wish I had a Max, to, boy, which Max should I pick? Right? Should
yeah,
I go with a Sobo? Should I go with
yeah.
PMDG? Should I go with iFly? Or should you be a dummy like me and just go with all of them? Right? I mean,
We will. It's about time, man. Look, the real 7.3 Max has its issues. Finally getting a trajectory now where looks like they've cleaned stuff up. And Boeing got spanked for it, rightfully so, and we're on our way. So now the sim is reflecting the same thing. We're getting three of them bad boys,
there you go. There you
all
go.
delivered new. So, you know, but
Awesome.
yeah, it's a great time to be in flight simming, man. It's actually
It
is a great
is.
time.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. It is. And I'm, in my particular occasion, I wanted to get into this type of stuff before, but I don't know if you remember, but I think we talked about me being active duty, being deployed all the time. I haven't been able to
Hmm.
do that. So I retired last year. I finally got to go to my first expo. Got to meet so many good people,
Yeah.
man, and such a cool experience, man. It's such a cool community and niche hobby to be part of. That I was already a part of for many, many years before, right? But I never been so involved to this level, to where now I get to meet people like you and people in chat that are freaking amazing. And it's just opening up a whole different story, man. It's a whole different road that you go up, right? And you're like,
Yep.
I never thought that you would get, uh to a certain level,
Oh,
right? And now
same
World
here,
Flight,
man.
going to World Flight this year, November first
Yeah.
week. It's gonna be like, I never thought. I was like, I sent them an email, hey, I'm interested. They're like, yeah, yeah, let's talk about it. They're like, "Hey, sure, you're in." And I'm like, oh wow, okay, cool, let's go,
Right,
right?
but yeah, I don't mean to cut you, but it's the same thing with me, even though I've been doing it a little bit longer than you have, up front like this. It's the same thing with me. I get emails and an invitation from people like, "Oh, me? You sure?" You know what I'm saying? And people are like, "Oh no, you're XP." No, no, no. Like, are you sure you want me to come? Like, I feel so. No matter what level you get, I still feel like how you feel like you're getting involved in the community and you're being a part of things. You know, this Microsoft invitation was ridiculous, bro. It was crazy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It was crazy.
Nice. Nice.
So
Nice.
I feel the same way you feel about this stuff. Not because I've been around a little bit longer. I feel the same way. I feel privileged to, meet you guys at Flight Sim Expo, shake hands with you guys, say what's up, talking to developers. They know who you are. You're like, wow, you know what I'm saying? You know, shake hands with Jorg and Seb and everybody. Thrustmaster and wing people, and it's like, whoa, okay, all right, it's
Yeah,
cool.
it's just one of those things that you don't look for, right? Um, you're probably used to because you already been to, a couple of expos and a couple of events. You already been part of this type of thing, right? For me, it was my first expo, and to see people come up to me like, "CST Gaming, is that you?" And I'm like, what? It was kind of strange, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes. Like, what do you want from me, dude? Like, oh yeah, I watch your videos. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, at first it kind of hits you, like, oh, okay, this guy, oh, okay, cool. You just want to say what's up. That's fine. No, but it's for me, it's one of those new experiences that I'm kind of going through, right? So, I think it's always important to keep a certain level of humbleness, if you know what I mean, right? You don't want to be that guy, right? And that's something that I've done throughout the my life. There's Al's FS in chat. Another huge streamer, content creator. What's up, Al's? How you doing, brother? Welcome. Good to see you, man. If you guys do have, we're gonna keep going here. If you guys do have questions for XP, myself, or in general for both of us to answer or whatever, just go ahead and put them in chat. I got moderators in the chat that are gonna chat down those questions, and we're gonna dedicate a few minutes to be able to answer those questions. So if you guys do, go ahead and shoot them. Start out with questions, capital letter question, and then ask your question, and we'll make sure to chat it down, guys. Cool. So developers is kind of like one of those things that I always talk about too with a lot of my members in the Discord and stuff like that. The good, the bad, indifferent, right? I know that I am guilty of sometimes talking in a negative manner, I think, about some developers, and obviously praising the good ones. One thing that always, and I know nothing about developing, right? So I probably have no room to talk about any of this. But as a customer, I like to voice my opinion or my uh my worry or whatever you want to call it, right? So the things that with developers that has always raised a question mark for me is, why is it taking 5 6 years to develop an aircraft? Like, if I was a business, right? And that's the question that you might not be able to answer, but it's just one of those things. Hey, let's spend 2 minutes on it, right? If I was a business, if I was PMDG or Phoenix, or it would be in my best interest to develop an aircraft as quickly as humanly possible, right? Because the business motto is make money, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
the more products you put out, the more money you make. So does it really take this long, or do you think, obviously we're talking opinions, it really doesn't matter, but hey, do you think that they're not putting the right amount of resources, money, and experience on a certain job, or do you think they actually have those type of resources, money, and experience in the job, and it just literally takes that long to develop an aircraft? Because I'm hearing craziness, like, they've been working on this plane for 6 years, they've been working on this plane for 7 years. Takes less than that to build the real one, dude. What what is holding you back, bro? That's the questions I have. Obviously, not being a developer, I don't have a clear answer. I can only go by, hey, this is what's frustrating for me, right? I don't get it. Why is it taking so long, right? It'd be nice to have a developer explain to me. Maybe you have talked to developers and you know more than I do about this stuff.
I could shed some light on this. I felt the same way you felt when I just started in flight simming, and somebody says, "Hey, Tolus is making a 320 for X-Plane." I was like, "Yes, we're gonna have a 320 next month," you know. And then 2 years later, it finally is in beta. You're like, "What the heck's going on? Why does it take so long?" or they announce it, but it's 3 years in the making, or it's fly-by-wire, or it's Synaptic A220, or all these planes that are promised, and then it takes it forever. And so you learn to pace yourself when you see an announcement come out. Now, this is the reason why PMDG gets such crap from people, because they don't talk to anybody about anything until they are close to finishing it. Because once you promise the community an airplane, they're going to keep asking you when. So think about it this way, logically. I think one of the biggest aircraft developers, if not the biggest, is PMDG. And it still took them, what, a year and a half or so to bring the A320, the 737 out? And these are people working full-time, paid to do it. It's a team. They've been doing airplanes in P3D and FSX forever. And so what it tells you is that it's millions of lines of code that they have to write and test and rewrite and retest. All right, so we interviewed for the Blue Experience another aircraft developer, and that's going to be coming out soon. We're not going to say who it was. And it's like every time I'm flying and I see something wrong, because we asked him, hey, do you fly for fun? He goes, no, I don't fly my own airplanes for fun, because if I'm flying it and I see something wrong, I pause the sim, I rewrite it, and then I have to reload the sim again. And then Microsoft takes forever to reload. And so that's how it goes. So let's talk about paid developers versus freeware developers, right? Paid developers, iNiBuilds, and PMDG, and Phoenix for Microsoft Flight Simulator, 3 big ones. The quickest development turnaround, I think, was the Phoenix A320. And part of the reasons why is because they're using ProSim. The plane was already built. All they have to do is make it fit and work with Microsoft, right? So it was a little bit easier. And that's the reason why they have an external app for it as well, right? Easy. PMDG is the premier person who can make a plane, and it still takes them a while to make a plane. It's just that many lines of code, and it's frustrated the heck out of me that I don't have it in my hands. And it's been 3 years since we did the first interview with them, and I still don't have it. It takes that long. Same thing with the Bluebird 757. It's like, we have this project, we're going to do it. You know what's the easiest to do? Okay, here's why. You know what's the easiest to do, I realize? Is the stupid modeling, man. They can knock that out and show you previews of the modeling like tomorrow.
Yeah,
But
texture. I mean, I have one of my members is actually, he does that type of stuff, and he tells me all the time, "Hey, making the plane, actually making the model is the easiest part. Everything else that goes inside that model is what takes a long time."
Somebody in the chat said it. QuickLift says, it takes as long as. Okay, so Boeing can make the plane in less than a month, right? But how many years did they spend making the avionics for that plane and making the avionics work? And a lot of these guys are relying on old manuals, pilot word of mouth, screenshot pictures. Like the person I was talking to for the plane that's coming out, they're like, dude, we scour the internet for like so much data that we can find just to get it right, and then we do it, and then next week realize, dude, that measurement is wrong. Start from scratch again. Or the VNAV doesn't work that way, it works this way. You know what I mean? It really does take that amount of time, unfortunately for us. I don't think there's any other video game where an adult, well, no, I lie. For what's a military flight sim called? For
DCS.
DCS, yes. I think DCS is worse. I think DCS takes longer time.
Yeah.
To develop a real fighter jet. So yeah, I hear your frustration, but honestly, I'm going to defend the developer, saying that they want the money as just as anybody else, and if they could have done it quicker and give you the quality, they would have.
You think they would have done it? Yep.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely, man. Money rules everything. You know that. They can make
100%.
millions of dollars in Microsoft Flight Sim if they drop a good plane, and let's say a fifth of the Microsoft user base buys a plane, it's over $1 million.
Oh yeah, easy.
It's right there.
Easy.
But they have to develop a good product. So yeah, I'm going to defend them a little bit and say, hey, it just takes that long. They're not like chilling. Go, we'll do it next week.
And I think we've been frustrated for the longest time, right? Because of since 2020 release. But I think now we are at a point where these developers have been working already on these planes for so long, and I don't think it's going to be so complicated to integrate those planes into the new sim to where they're going to have to start from scratch. So I think we're at a good point where we're going to see a lot of good stuff coming.
I did talk to Asoba Studios, and I asked them about the flight model stuff for Microsoft 2024. As I said, I have the interview coming out tomorrow with Asobo.
Nice.
And basically, I asked him that same question, like, all right, you have a new flight model. How easy or hard is it going to be for third party? And he goes, it shouldn't be hard at all. The plane will work, number one. in 2024. So your PMDG, your Phoenix, all that will work in 2024 right off the bat. However, for them to take advantage of what the new flight model is going to offer, they have to do some work. And it's not a lot of work. They have to just go back, put the plane in the system, use the tools that they are provided, use the new, models that they have for the flight sim. And so that's going to be the thing, right? How quick are these people willing to go back and update airplanes for 2024? That's going to be the thing to watch out for. Is it going to be 6 months? Is it going to be a year? Is it going to be 2 years? Or are they going to have it done in like a month or two? I'm thinking that they should get a copy of the sim before it drops so they can actually work on it, and maybe release day or a week later they'll be like, yeah, sim is ready for 2024. Because I got to tell you, the 2024 flight model, yeah.
It's on point, huh?
It's better than 2020. Okay, so let me jump in 2024 here. So
Let's do it.
Microsoft said, hey, Xbox, as a matter of fact, is who invited us out. Xbox sponsored the entire thing, including the jet ride. So, but we went out, they gave us a presentation of what it's going to be. I'm like, all right, presentation is cool. Let's see what this is all about. So you get your own little cubicle, your own little desk. My setup, unfortunately or fortunately, was a TCA side stick and a TCA throttle. But I wanted to fly the Max. That's like the first plane I want to fly. It's the new plane. I have to tell you, first of all, going down the runway, the rudder felt good. It felt different. The ground handling felt different, number one. I didn't even think about it. That's how good it is. Usually Microsoft, you're like messing with the rudder when it's going down and it's darting left and right. I didn't get that feel. And when I gently pulled that stick back, it just smoothly came off the ground. It didn't do none of that. If you like put an input, it would like dip and come up, and all that was gone. All that was gone. Same thing when you rolled left in it, just like butter smooth. I was like, wow, yeah, I could feel it. I could feel it already.
Did you get to fly? Obviously, you got to fly the 737 Max, right? We all saw that. Did you get to fly any other airplanes in the sim?
Only GA stuff. I did the fighter jet challenge. I did A-10 Warthog, I did the F-16, but I was looking for the A330. It wasn't available. It was grayed out because there's a new A330 coming, by the way. Did I say that right? New A330 coming. There's the Dreamlifter coming. All of those other planes were grayed out. I could not get to fly them, so that was one disappointment. There's a couple disappointments I had. That
Did
maybe they could have done better.
did they tell you why wasn't? I mean, we're literally like to this day, as of today, 2 months out from a release,
Right.
huge release, right?
Mhm.
Why wasn't like the sim available? Why wasn't everything ready to go?
I
Is
can
it is
only
it is it because they didn't want to showcase it fully right away, or is it because it's not ready? You see what I'm trying to get with this?
I don't know, but I'm gonna say that it wasn't ready because you got to be careful. Whatever they show you, they want to show you the best because you're gonna report on it. And if it's broken, guess what you're gonna tell people? I flew this plane and there was a problem with it. They don't want any negative publicity at all. You understand? But they had to do this event to generate the excitement so you can do the pre-orders now, because today was crazy with the release of it. Everybody's going nuts looking for information about it, right? And then the pre-order drop and everybody wants it. So I'm going to assume that it wasn't up to the standard that they wanted it to be before they put it in the hands of a bunch of flight simmers, because there's a bunch of us who are going to be like, yeah, this is not ready.
Yeah,
Why
you're
is the
gonna be
plane?
critical, right? You're gonna be like,
You're
hey,
going to be
look,
very
yeah,
critical. Yeah. It's
exactly.
just not ready. It's one of those developmental things where you see how many planes they're coming out with. Like, what's the size of the team to work on all these planes? And airliners are complicated. It's not like a GA plane where there's some complication, but airliners are like bigger. The FMC, the this, the that, the VNAV, all that good stuff, man. But yeah, it's that. I think that's the reason why it just wasn't included. I wish
Can,
it was because I wanted to fly it.
can
You
you
know.
tell us, Mr. Bobby says, yeah, like the red man visual bug on the red guy hanging out the planes? Can
So I
you?
got lucky.
What was that about,
I
dude?
got lucky. Okay, so here's what happened, right? They had different batches of people go different days. Blue and Captain Canada and Jeff Fabian, them guys went the first day. I went the second day, and there's people went the third and fourth day, right? The first group of people, unfortunately, experienced a red man bug. They realized there was something going on when this red guy would pop up and be sitting on the on the yoke or whatever, and they had to do something and upload a new build, I think, to get rid of it, and that literally ate into time that these guys had with the sim. And you only got an hour to sit in front of that sim and get all the footage that you need and do all the testing that you could and so forth, which was not nearly enough. Because the two max flights that I did a circuit out of Fort Lauderdale, and I did a Manhattan circuit and landed doing the Parkway visual. That ate up like 35, 40 minutes, you know? And then I had to go back and decide, all right, what do I look at next? Career mode, GA flights, helicopter flights, all that stuff. You know what I mean? The time went by quick. Like my Xbox had a structured day for you
And
that
you
was
only had a certain amount of time to be able to record and use the sim, correct?
right. It was 1 hour.
1 hour, that's it.
Yeah, it was 1 hour. They gave
1
me, I mean,
hour,
inside
1 day, 1 hour. That's it. You're done. In
one
and
day.
out.
Okay, no, okay. Let me give it a full day, right?
All right.
So you get there the night before. You wake up at 6:30 the next morning. You pick up a little bit of breakfast. You do a registration, and then they put you on a Humvee to do a Grand Canyon tour. That lasts an hour and a half. They had to get you back by like 9 o'clock or something. At 9 o'clock, here was Jorg and Seb, and they're doing a presentation of what 2024 is all about. And when they're done at 10 or whatever, you have 10 to 11 to sit in front of the sim and get all the footage that you need and look at everything. It sounds like a lot. It's not. Because as soon as that's done, now you will get to jump on the real helicopter and the real jet and go
Right.
fly. Right?
Yeah,
And then when you come back,
1 hour on a brand new sim is nothing.
yeah, exactly.
Nothing.
It's nothing. It's not even enough. I wanted 2 days, man. You
You
know,
know,
because you find out it wasn't tuned the way you like it. It wasn't set up the way you customize your own sim. So, but I looking at everybody's videos, they did a great job with whatever they were given. You know what I mean? You got some assets that you can use later on a hard drive and stuff like that. But yeah,
awesome.
but I know what my task was for my audience. We like mostly commercial flying, right? So that's
Absolutely.
why I concentrated on the airplane and the flight physics. Guys who fly bush planes, they don't care about this stuff. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
The
like
commercial
like
aircraft, yeah, definitely not.
we learned that we are hardcore simmers are the vocal minority for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And when I say that, let's say that I'm going to throw a number out here. I could be wrong. Anywhere between 12 to 25 million unique users in Microsoft Flight Sim. We're literally only like 3 million of that. We're a small fraction.
Wow.
And they let it known, like, you guys are like not the biggest part of the chunk of users, but we are the vocal minority. We're like, yo, we want a better flight sim. We want better clouds. We want to be able to do this, that, so forth and so on, man.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so that was the whole day. And so, I got the footage that I wanted. I wish I had more time. I did some VR work in there to see how VR is. That's kick ass. That works too. And so
Nice.
forth. And so on. Yeah. So
Good news.
yeah.
All right. Have you ever considered building a full cockpit? When like at the expo we had the what's that company? I forget what the company is.
Oh, the Airbus one?
Scholarkey?
Scalarchy. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Dude,
Have you ever
I was
considered like, you know what? I'm gonna drop 60,000 on this thing. Let's go.
I did. I looked at Scalarkey. Scalarkey was in 2019. Scalarkey came out in Orlando. The first flight sim expo I went to. They had that in Orlando. I have pictures of it and videos of it. Then fast forward to the one in Houston, and then this one right here. And actually, yeah, they were in all of them. Yes, I wanted Scalarkey. I also wanted a 737 cockpit. I did the whole research on Scalarkey. I'm like, 60 grand. Maybe I could sell my car and just buy a flight sim and put in my garage. You know what I'm saying? I thought about it. Seriously. Like,
So sell the
seriously.
house, get
So,
a
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Get one
get a
around the
storage
house.
unit, put a sim in it.
Yeah. Tell the wife, hey, babe, you can't park in the garage anymore. I need my sim in there. You know what I'm saying? Kick her out of her
Yeah.
office, whatever.
I'm gonna tell you this. I'm definitely tossing the idea around. I've been looking for about 2 years now. I've been doing a lot of homework. I've been
Can I say
a
this to you,
lot
man?
of companies, a lot of companies.
Can I say this to you?
And
I've completely changed my mind in doing that. I'm not doing that anymore. You know why? Take one guess.
the diversity of aircraft you want to fly.
And specifically VR.
VR as well. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to go here again. VR is like this. You walk on the airplane, you turn around, you look in the cockpit, and then you go to your seat. That's flying on a 4K monitor. VR is the captain says, "Hey, come sit in this seat right here," and now you have to turn around and look and touch all the equipment.
Yeah.
That's VR. And with the right headset, you're not going to want to do a full-fledged cockpit anymore, because the simplicity of VR, but the effect that VR gives you is better, I would say, than a full-fledged cockpit, because I've done a motion cockpit 737 already. I've done Fly with Rookie's cockpit over there in California. He had one. He sold it. He went to VR. Because what you don't see is the work behind maintaining and installing a full-fledged cockpit. And then when you're done, you have that one cockpit and one cockpit only. You're not flying anything else in it, right?
Right.
You have to fire up 3 to 4 computers every time. You have to make sure all your peripherals that are plugged in work. The power supply, the air conditioning, the amount of current
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
running, and
It's
the
literally
space.
yeah, yeah. Of course.
Until you looked at it in VR, you're it's hard to describe it. You understand?
Yeah, I'll put it to you this way. I have tried. I have tried VR. It is definitely phenomenal, and I think when it boils down to it, if you got to look at a full blown cockpit and VR, VR is definitely the more affordable way, right, to kind of get that sensational realism or immersion or whatever it is you're trying to achieve, right? Um, but I don't know. To me, with all this stuff that's coming out too, especially with companies like Wing Wing designing FCUs and MCDUs and all these panels that you're gonna have, right? And you have access to all this beautiful peripherals that are coming out, but then you put a VR set on, it's like, hmm. Uh, so I
Well,
hear what you're saying. I understand because I've tried VR and it is absolutely out of this world, right? Obviously, you put that headset on and you are in the plane. It's literally you are there to the point where the very first time I did VR on an aircraft, I was dizzy. I'm like, oh god, we're moving. I'm like touching stuff around me. I'm like, why are we moving right now? Because my brain is thinking that I'm actually moving, right? So you get
yeah.
that sensation, that dizziness, that you are actually until you get used to it, obviously.
Well,
Um,
hold on.
so
If you don't mind, let me say this. I realize now there's VR and there's VR, right? I've had people who have tried VR before, and same experience as you. And then I've had people try the new Pimax headset, and there's another headset similar to the Pimax. It's a whole different experience. No dizziness, no motion sickness, no blurriness. The only thing you get is the immersion that literally I'm reaching out to touch the yoke, or I'm reaching out to touch the panel to slide my seat up. I'm reaching out on the armrest to put my arm down. It's not there because it's so crystal clear
right,
and looks so good. And as far as the peripherals are concerned, like my autopilot panel from Wing Wing, believe it or not, your brain is so powerful. You reach out and touch it and know the different knobs without having to even physically look at it. So you're in VR and you're changing the heading and the altitude and you're doing it without even thinking. So you're not relegated to using just your mouse. You know, the yoke, the throttle, same thing. You have I see you have the modified throttle quadrants for your, your Bravo throttle quadrant. You already know where that stuff is without even realizing it. You even look down at it when you're flying, or
right.
just put your hand out. So you get the same thing. You get the same sensation in VR.
Yeah, you
You know
get
what I mean?
that muscle memory, right? So you
Oh
know
yeah, muscle
exactly
memory. There
where
you go.
your
Yeah, yeah,
speed knob is, what all what all
right.
that stuff is.
Look,
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
ultimate would be one Airbus full sim, one Boeing 73 Max full sim, and then VR headset for everything else. that
Yeah,
that
but
would be my,
we would
yeah,
have to win the lottery for that to happen, huh?
basically. And at that point, I'm buying a real jet.
Believe it or not, I have looked at a lot of stuff, and I can tell you that if I was to pull the trigger, I could probably build myself a full blown 320 cockpit for probably around six to $7,000.
Yeah,
If I
yeah,
do it myself. Now, if I go buy it from another company, I'm probably going to spend 60 to $70,000. That's the difference,
is
right?
yeah, definitely.
Um, so we'll see. I'm looking into it. I'm doing a lot of homework. I've been doing a lot of homework for a long time. But we'll see. We'll see where that goes. Um, so I was going to ask you about the VR thing, but we're obviously already went into it.
And yeah, I'm looking
Um,
ahead.
and Warflight. Um, I thought you were part of Warflight. Are you part of a team or not anymore? Maybe in the past?
No, I got invited a couple times, but World Fright happens to be around my birthday every year,
Mm,
and the wife's got something planned for it. World Fright is a dedication, as you know. You're dedicating a whole week. I mean, you could do a few days depending on the
right.
team for scheduling wise, but it just never worked out for me logistically. I wanted to try to do one here on the East Coast because the teams that I was looking at is all the way in California. That's the thing. I would have to fly out there, spend a week, and fly back. If I could have gotten one on the East Coast, I would have done it. I'm still saying that one year I'm definitely going to do it. But I thought you have to have a full-fledged cockpit to do that. You can't do World Flight without that, right? Is that correct? You need to have a full
I
modded
I I
cockpit,
don't know what the rules is. The one that we're going
right?
to, which is the Wings of Hope, used to be Cali Crew, I think it was called.
Right. Yep.
Um,
Cali crew. Yeah.
so Cali Crew does not have a full blown cockpit anymore. So they they're piecing the cockpit together, and it's not called Cali Crew anymore because that sim went away. I don't know if you know about this or not,
Right.
but
Right.
so now they're piecing it. You know, they're gonna have the MCP panels. They're gonna have iPads as FMCs and all
But
that good
are
stuff,
they going to
overhead
have
panels.
enough?
So they're gonna
Yeah.
have we're gonna have next level chairs. You're gonna have the full blown cockpit in front of you, right? With displays and everything, but it's not gonna be a replica of a particular aircraft, if you know what I mean.
Got you.
It's gonna look like it, right? But it's not gonna be kind of like what used to be in the past, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So that's the way it's going. So I don't know what the rules are as far. Hey, do you got to have like a replica of a 737 or a 320 or a 74? I don't know. I don't know if that's the case, but that's not what Wings of Hope team has. Uh, I think that the plan is in the future they will re-implement that type of stuff, but for the time being, because last minute, yada yada yada, that's the route they're going. Uh, at the end of the day, um, I don't think if I really don't. It's gonna be fun, right? It's gonna be a good experience. And at
Oh
the
yeah,
end of the day, I
definitely.
don't care. I don't care if I have a yoke or an Xbox controller. It's the reason why you're doing it that counts, right?
Yeah, first you're
So
going to be hanging out with like-minded folks, the
right.
camaraderie from meeting everybody, and then it is for charity,
That the huge
So
part
yeah,
of it is the charity, right?
exactly,
So that's the
exactly.
thing, to get
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
as many people in there watching, following, donating to a good cause, right? That's what it's all about. So whether
Exactly.
I'm flying, on a on a controller or a full blown cockpit, hey, as long as we hang out with good people, have some fun, and at the same time do it for an outstanding cause, that's all that matters, in my opinion.
Yep, definitely,
Um,
absolutely.
cool. So, what time is it?
Oh, 9 Eastern, 9
All
p.m.
right, I think we're gonna
Yeah,
we're
yeah, I
gonna
got time
start.
for a couple more. Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
we're gonna start wrapping it up. What we're gonna do is we can keep talking, and we'll take a few questions from the chat. Let's see if I have, if you don't mind, XP, obviously.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead, man,
Let's see
go
if I
ahead.
have any questions, guys. If you guys have any questions, pop them in the chat right now. Please say questions. Let me scroll up and see if anybody had already asked some questions. I think I did see a couple of them scroll by here. All right, we got a question from Andy. I think he's asking maybe the both of us. It says, "What are your goals for each of your communities over the next 12 months?" That's
Hmm.
coming from our good friend Andy Boyce. By the way, Andy Boyce, big up, my friend.
Big up, Andy. Yeah, what are our goals for the community? I keep my goals simple, to be honest. Um, I wanna. Let's see, how should I phrase this? To keep my community happy, basically, by taking recommendations, listening to what they're saying, and flying, you know, as best as possible the flights they want me to fly. You know what I mean? Yeah, they begged me to fly night flying for so long, and I never was like, no, I'm not gonna fly at night. It sucks. And then next thing you know, I'm flying night flight every other night now. Stuff like that. Fly the MD-11, they say. I'm like, no, I don't want to fly the MD-11. All right, MD-11 flight. MD-80, please fly the MD-80. No, and I pick it up at night. But yeah, I'm gonna continue to rotate airplanes. I try not to fly the same airplane back to back to back unless it's brand new. I try to keep a bunch of planes into rotation. Good ones, great ones, and some not so good ones. Just the way it is. I am going to introduce GA flying, as in GA jets flying in the sim. We're going to be taking out the Cirrus jet first up, and if that goes well and I like it, we're going to be taking up the Honda jet second. So we're going to be introducing GA jets in the rotation of flying. That's the come. So we can do smaller airports, not just the big main ones anymore, because there's tons of good small airports out there that we haven't visited yet, and we're going to be doing that. So look out for some GA jet flying on the in the next coming months, definitely.
Absolutely, that's awesome. For me, basically, my main thing is, first of all, having fun, right? Um, I always found that flight simming is always best done with good friends, like-minded people, and when I started streaming and sharing my hobby with some people in the chat, I started gaining some good members in the Discord that actually do fly along and spend time with me and share knowledge, share experience, and learn. You know, some of these airplanes that I do fly, for example, it wouldn't be possible for me if I didn't have a lot of good people in my community. So the goal, keep growing the community, man. Keep gaining good viewers, good members in the Discord that are willing to not only share the passion for aviation, but also reach out and help the next person, you know, get to the point or being able to fly along and, learn how to fly on VATSIM. We have channel in my Discord for like pilot resources. I mean, you name it. Obviously news channels, pilot resources that we always put in there. We have a lot of people that are huge on aviation. We got real pilots. We got wannabe pilots. I mean, you name it. We got all that, right? And again, first and foremost, having fun, sharing a good passion, and flying around VATSIM and giving the ATC a hard time. So, in a good way,
So,
in a good way, in a good way.
all right.
We got Thrust Simulation says XP72. Who else did you see at the Microsoft Flight Simulator party? V1 Sim, Flight Data Sim, or
I don't. Unfortunately, I think those guys are because they're railroad pilots. I think they're just busy with life and probably couldn't make it. I mean, I have, of course, I have no clue of what the invitation list looks like, but I figure all the content creators that I know of and watch were there, and then actually more importantly too, I met a couple of developers there. I made some contact with some developers that we were just like hanging out, talking, having fun, having a drink, and they're like, "Hey, I work for so and so." I'm like, "No, you do?" Like, "Yeah, I work for so and so." It's like, "Hey, all right, hit me up. Here you go. Here's my number. Got some scenery for you to look at, or some planes for you to look at, or whatever."
nice,
So
nice.
yeah, the Xbox went all out and spent the money and invited a whole bunch of people out and showed them a good time and show off the sim. And of course, it's publicity and it's part of the advertising budget, and they're going to make that money back in no
Right,
time.
right, right.
It's
How
crazy.
many days?
Yeah.
How many days did you guys spend over there altogether?
Okay, so it was only a 1 day event,
It was
but
one day. That's it.
obviously, yeah. Well, you have to fly in the day before
Right.
and then fly out the day after, or
So
you do the extended
presentation in
day
the
some way
morning,
going.
spend some times
Yep.
on the sim, go
Mm-hmm.
fly helicopter or whatever ride,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
get lucky and
A
fly a
Grand,
jet.
yep.
I'm so
Grand Canyon,
jealous.
exactly.
Yeah.
Grand Canyon tour,
I hate you.
and
Yeah.
then yeah, they had a wrap up, and then they had a like an after party, and
Nice.
that's it. You're going to bed. Yeah, I mean,
That's
it was
beautiful.
1 day. It was very compact, very very compact.
Very compact, but I
So
bet
yeah,
you I bet you it was a ton of
yeah,
fun though.
yeah. And other people I can't say who I met there because they don't
Oh
want to
yeah.
know.
Uh,
But yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So
If they wanna share with us, we'll find out, right? I know obviously we all know Blue was there, you were there, Captain Canada was there,
Jeff Fabiano,
Fabiano, all those
Air
people that have
Force
already put out
Proud.
content.
Yeah,
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 Air
yeah,
Force Proud,
yeah, yeah.
all those
You know,
people were there, so there's no secret there. But there's other people that probably like, hey, keep it on a down low, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But
right, exactly.
we'll talk about all that stuff after the stream. Don't worry about it, XP.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We'll sit down together with one of those red tapes, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
uh uh Mikey D says, can you walk through the jetways in 2024? I don't think I've seen you do that, but I don't know if you can answer that question or not. But
No, I didn't get a chance to even hook up a jetway to the airplane. It's like, with the limited time, it's like go get the footage that you think you're going to want and use. And I didn't prioritize the jetway stuff at all. As a matter of fact, it was all default airports loaded in, and I didn't want to look at them because it's still default airports. They weren't modeled. We didn't get to look at any of the. Well, I didn't look at any of the what do you call it? the not Premier Airport, but the higher fidelity airports that Microsoft give you in the different packages. So no, I didn't look at that, unfortunately. I did not. So I can't say if you were able to walk through the jet bridge or not. I know that the animated people are there and they're going to be on the planes, which is cool, just like what GSX does. But yeah, we didn't get to walk through it all.
Okay. Another big concern, and I think somebody already touched about it. I was watching. I think Captain Canada mentioned it in the stream. But one big concern among a lot of people in my community, which a lot of people in my community is part of your community as well, but is anything about the weather radar. I know one of the big things is weather radar, right?
Well,
Um, go ahead, go
let me
ahead,
just say
enlighten us.
it's a big disappointment. It's still a work in progress. Let's just say that it's still a work. Apparently, a working weather radar is still a thing that, to have it done right, not even a Soba can get it good yet. That might change between now and release, but as far as I know, there is no working weather radar where you can tilt it up and down and look at the clouds. Not even cloud. It's not a cloud radar. It's actually precipitation it's supposed to see. That's the thing that people don't get. Weather radar is not a cloud radar. You
Right,
should be able to see through clouds, but when it gets to like precipitation and heavy rain or moisture, or whatever, that's what it should look like.
weather.
So it's unfortunate, but
That's it.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's as far as I know, no discussion on it yet. It's somebody asked a question and it wasn't ready.
there you go.
Nothing on it.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
hopefully they'll figure something out.
yeah,
Because I think in aviation, weather radar is one of the most important tools that you have at your disposal in a plane. So, if you
yep,
want to simulate flying, I think weather radar should be one of those things that
yes.
is a must, right? Um, how do you feel about the TFDI MD11 versus the Rotate MD11?
Here's a shocking answer for you guys.
I've flown both.
Well, here's my take on it. Believe it or not, I hand flying wise, I prefer the TFDI over the Rotate. The Rotate MD11 for me, for some reason, just never flies right, especially in the roll. I'll do this, and the yoke in the plane will do it right away, and the airplane barely wants to move.
Hmm.
And so you're coming in on final, it's hard to correct stuff. That's what I've found with the Rotate. I don't know if it's just me. I prefer to fly the TFDI because of that. But on the other end, I prefer the modeling on the Rotate, believe it or not. But I think I'll fly the TFDI over the Rotate. And I don't know what your opinion is of it.
I to, so I have flown the Rotate. I love the Rotate. It's great aircraft. Um, but I think I'm a little biased when it comes to the TFDI design MD11. And the reason why I say that is because if I have two great airplanes, same airplane, I have MD11s on MSFS and I have MD11 on X plane, I'm gonna go fly the one on MSFS. And I think again, I think it's just because I'm biased because I like the eye candy. I like to be able to see
Right.
out the window and look at the beautiful clouds, look at the beautiful photogrammetry and all the all package, right? In a way, there's a lot of people are in the opinion that hey, this plane is much better on X plane, but to me, that's all great and that's all fine and that's outstanding. But when I click all these buttons on the plane and the plane does exactly what it's supposed to do, and I pull back on the yoke or the stick and it feels right, and then I look out the window and I'm like, oh my god, why is that cloud look like Roblox? Why is that cloud square? It's just one of those immersion killers for me when I look out the window and I'm like, why can't they fix this? Right? And it's almost aggravating at the same time. Now, a lot of my guys on the Discord are like, hey, look, they're targeting a different set of people. They're not targeting the eye candy people. It's all understandable. I get it. I still to the opinion that hey, if I want to fly a certain plane and I don't have it here, I'm gonna go fly there, and vice versa. So, um, take it at what you want. The TFDI design MD11, I think they did an outstanding job, and it is the one that I'm gonna pick over for the full package. I
Got
think
you.
that's
Got you.
just my
Got you.
opinion. Just my opinion.
Got you. Full
Um,
package. Yep.
Let's see what do we got. Turbo says, what would be one thing you would like to see change in VATSIM? I was going to ask this question, but I didn't bring it up based on your real flying experience. So well, let's twist that a little bit. So when we're on VATSIM, there's a lot of people that are very forgiving, and a lot of people that are like, why is this guy on VATSIM? Right? This person should not be on VATSIM at all. Why is this person even on VATSIM right now? People spawning inside of you. You just had that happen to you the other day, and you're like, dude, would you please move? Whoever this guy is, can you please move? Right? It's like, why, the first thing that's not even like being a professional. That's just like common courtesy, right? Log in on VATSIM or look at VATSIM Red. It's so easy to figure out, wait a minute, there's a guy in this spot. Let me not park there. So have you done it? I've done it numerous times, right? When you log in, but that's like the first thing I do when I log in on VATSIM is I click on the little external view and I'm like, oops, disconnect. Right? Let me move this
Yep.
plane real quick.
Yep.
Why is it so hard for some people to do that? Right? So that again, that's not the biggest. The bigger issue to me is the person that logs on VATSIM, the controller is talking to him, and then this particular person continues by saying, "Oh, well, it's my first day on VATSIM. I kind of know what I'm doing, but I really don't know what I'm doing." And it's like, well, then why are you here, right? So my question would be, where's that line, right? Where do you draw the line, right? I don't think there is that line, to be honest.
It's like this. Okay. So people need to be self-aware. One, with what you say. Let's say you didn't look and you spawn. Take 2 seconds, jump outside the airplane and see where you are and if you're on top of somebody. That should be like the first thing you do. Every time I go on VATSIM, I do that because I don't want to have to reload the plane after like 5 minutes of setting it up. Like, oh crap, somebody's here already. I just load up the VATSIM Connect, whether it's X-Plane or Microsoft, jump outside, look around. Okay, it's nobody here. I'm good. But people jump into the sim immediately and don't look. So that's one. Two, they get in over their head. They just started on VATSIM yesterday and they try to fly a FNO or an event. You can't do that. Like you got to know your abilities. Your abilities are not as good as you think it is. So they should take the time. Now, what I wish happened is that the VATSIM controllers have a little bit more power. Instead of having to call a supervisor to deal with somebody, they could deal with that person themselves, or at least hide that person from everybody else until a supervisor can come and resolve and say, yeah, this person gets to stay or this person gets booted from VATSIM. I think I don't want to give a controller too much power to just ban you just because they feel bad that day. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, if somebody's clearly an issue and spawning on top of people or on the taxi or on the runway and not paying attention, the guy who's controlling the ground or the tower, whatever, should be able to go, you know what? We're hiding you from the network. You're not banned, you're not kicked off, but you're hidden for now until we can resolve it.
I
You know,
think one good tool
that's
that we
yeah,
have is the dot aircraft on vPilot.
yeah,
When I
that
found out about the
that
thing, I
works.
was like, "Thank you, man. Why didn't I know about this before?" Dot aircraft and ignore the guy that's closest to you. It's
Yeah,
that simple.
yeah,
Tyler T says, "Thank you for this as a VATSIM controller." I think it's one of those controversial issues, right? Because I don't think VetSim is. Well, I didn't know this was happening on VetSim. I think they're fully aware of all these trolls and all this not people that should not be on VetSim. However, I don't think they have possibly the manpower to be able to deal with training sessions. And hey, you can't. You're gonna be in training for a certain amount of time until you get ready to be a full blown pilot. And I don't think the manpower is there. That's why
yeah.
I think it's the way it is, right? It's
It's a
self-policing.
volunteer network.
I think it's
Yeah,
almost like up to
self-policing.
us,
Yeah,
like the more senior pilots and controller to be able to say, "Hey, look, man, you know, maybe there's only two pilots flying into this airport, and you have an ATC that's controlling. And since there's only two planes flying around, he maybe has a little bit of time to say, "Hey, look, look, new guy, right? This is what you need to do. This is what
right.
spend an extra 5 minutes maybe with a guy, right? But if you're logging in as a new guy, first day on the job, right, and you're trying to fly in an event, and you're like, oh, it's my first day. I kind of know what I'm doing, but I really don't know what I'm doing. Maybe it's time to log off, right?
Yep.
Because they got stuff going on. But yeah, um, it's a
Yeah,
struggle, and at the same time,
and
it's one
keep
of those
your
things.
communication short.
Right,
Keep your communication
right.
short.
At the
They don't
same
need to know
time,
that your FMC is busted and you can't put in a waypoint and
that's it.
just yeah.
I mean, I
Anyway,
had a
back
guy
to
the
the
other
point.
day. The other day. I had a guy, and I started making shorts about this. I don't know if you've been looking at them or not.
I've seen them.
I had a guy that's like, whatever his call sign was, you're doing 295 knots across the ground, and you are 3,000 feet state in tension. And he's like, oh, my autopilot is not working. I need a minute. And like, dude, like, what? Fly the damn plane, bro. It's like you can't always rely on the autopilot, right? Anyways, funny stuff that happens that I think it's good to point out. That's why I started doing shorts on that stuff. But
Right.
um, I don't know if you know anything about this. Share Cockpit. Will that be a thing on Microsoft Flight Simulator
No,
2024?
no. As far as I know, no,
Yeah,
not yet. Third party.
nice. It's one of those things. I don't know if you remember the FSX days. We used to be able to do share cockpits natively on FSX.
Yeah,
Remember that?
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
And I remember I used to fly with his name on my Discord is Captain Bios. His name is Jem. He's a real war pilot now. But I used to literally go with him, share cockpit on FSX, and he used to teach me exactly what to do on all these planes. And it was such a great thing to have at your disposal. Because I think we do have some third party stuff for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I've used it a couple
Yeah,
of
they do.
times,
Yeah,
but
shared
it's
flight.
it's it's hit and miss. I think it's hit and miss, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes it
it's
works,
getting
sometimes it
there.
doesn't. Yeah. Um, Let me know, XP. Let me know whenever
I,
Hey,
I
two
oh, I
more,
saw a
two
couple.
more, and we're done.
Yeah, I saw a couple of questions here. It says JJ Stevens in the chat.
Let's see. Let's see where JJ Stevens is. Oh, there you go. So JJ Stevens says, ask XP if flying in real life is anything like the sim.
Uh
I can.
yes, uh,
Go
yes
ahead. Go
and no.
ahead.
Yes and no. So let me give a little breakdown of it. I like that question because I've been thinking about it myself. No, because you're now moving on an infinite axis once you leave the ground, right? When you're taxiing out, it's pretty similar. You keep the center line, if it's the rudder pedals or if it's the differential braking or tiller, you keep the center line. Once you leave the ground, you have an infinite amount of axis to move. There's no six degree axis. It's infinite, right? And all of a sudden now you're like, your brain starts to go, okay, I've seen this instrument before. I've seen flight directors before. I've seen a yoke and throttle before, but I've not felt this before. So you quickly have to rewire your brain to deal with the movement of everything. And then if you look at the video that I did, you see my eyes concentrating on the flight director. So the principle from sim flying, I think, for me, is that you know what the flight director is. You know how to read it and see what it's doing and follow it. One, you know that you have to be gentle with your inputs. You can't be yanking anything, because you don't do a death grip on it. And I remember the very first time I flew in a Cessna, I was listening to ATC. I was flying around and I had the throttle and I wasn't overwhelmed. Initially, I was because there's all this data coming at you. But after a while, they're like, no, I do this on VATS. I do this in the sim all the time. Now, I don't know what it feels like. Moving around, that you can't replicate that at all. The controllers, like I came home and my side stick felt like plastic for the first time. Here I am. I have the thrustmaster and the wing. I'm like, these things are great. And then I go fly this the Cirrus jet, and I come back home and I get the same airplane. I'm like, God, this thing feels like plastic. You know, and Mikey D says, dude, you need to tighten that stuff up as much as possible to even get close. You know, so you start noticing the difference, the huge difference between real world. But I think you can take a lot of principles from flight simming and it will help you in the real world because you understand the radio calls, you understand the communication between you and the controller or other people in the pattern and stuff like that. So if you're going to be flying in the real world, I would say that take your flying on VATSIM and FlightSim serious. Like do the right things, do the right procedures, follow the right radio calls, and it will help you along your way learning how to fly a real plane. That's what I would say.
Nice, nice, nice.
Yeah.
I've had a few experiences myself flying real planes. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't take off or land on a real plane, but I got to, get up to a certain altitude, turn off the autopilot, and go ahead, dude, get some sick time. And I can tell you, like, I can. It has nothing to do with a flight simulator. It's totally different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, uh, you- let's leave it at that. It's to me, it's totally different.
Yeah. It is.
So we got should we take one more? How much time you got?
One more. We can do one more. Let's go.
Let's do one more. All right. You know what? Let's do this one because we had Mr. What is he at? I saw that one earlier. Did it get deleted? Did somebody get rid of it? I guess somebody got rid of it. All right, never mind.
I was gonna say paraphrase it if you remember what it was he was asking.
Somebody was asking. I don't know why it would have gotten deleted, but maybe he deleted himself. I think he was trying to be funny, right? And I kind of wanna be on your side on this one, right? So he was asking. I think it was Mr. Tyler Rux. Do you know Tyler Rux?
I've seen him in chat. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Tyler Rux was was asking, right? Does Ask XP if he's always trying, to be funny when he streams and taking off of taxiways, right? So here's what I want. Look. All right, XP, I'm with you, brother, because you know why? I'm gonna put this up right now. All right, there you go. Let's see if we can do this. Let me move this here. Let's see if we can bring this up. I'm gonna make your day, XP. You ready?
Go ahead.
All right, let's see. All right, this is me. Hold on. This is me. When was this? 1 year ago. All right. This video only has 166 views. I'm gonna do you justice, brother. I'm gonna help you out. Mr. XP72 is not the only person that took off of sorry about that. That took off of a taxiway, okay? The only reason why I'm not as famous as XP72 is in taking off of why did I just do that? Is because nobody was watching me. That's why I've been able to hide this for so long, right? But I'm gonna put it out there, guys. I got no shame in my game. All right, here I am. Let's turn this up.
Because I got an answer for that. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Wow.
we can answer it and close with that. But here's me. Here I am. Look at me, confident. Look at my face. Look how confident I am. Like, let's go, baby. We're gonna take off. Notice my chat on the right side. I don't know if you guys can see my chat. Literally nobody in chat. There's nobody in chat.
Right.
Look. What does this look like to you guys? Huh? Look at me. It's like, okay,
There
guys.
we go. Let's go ahead and bring the power up to about
Let's do
50.
this.
50 on the N1.
All right.
And
Let's go.
stabilize.
Let's
Give me
go.
toga.
Let's do it.
And
There you
foot
go.
up the brakes.
Look. As soon
Sunlight,
now,
a
I'm
little
not
bit
even
of
gonna
foot-
lie to you. As soon as I hit toga, I looked at my airspeed alive and I looked up. I'm like, uh-oh. I knew it right then and there. I knew it. But you know what I did? I looked at my chat and I'm like, nobody's here. Send it.
Port pressure
Right?
on the
Send it.
controls here. Control
You
cam
can see
coming
my
out
face.
now.
I was like,
almost
uh-oh.
forgot.
Chat. Ooh,
Airspeed
God.
is live.
Look,
All right,
let me
that's
let
what
me
the,
say this.
first
let me
officer just
say
told
it,
me.
that we're headed right here. When you're
Peanuts.
streaming and multiple times a week, sometimes 3, 4, 5 times a week for 6 years straight, if
Rotation.
you're gonna tell me that you're not gonna screw up once in a while,
Oh, yeah.
okay. I
Oh,
said,
goodness
show me
gracious.
your 6 years of flying where you
Hey.
never screwed up once in a while,
Gear up.
right? Even in real life, people do screw up. People, okay, how many times in real life have you seen pilots land at wrong airport? Number one.
All the
How many
time.
times have you seen that?
All
All right,
the time.
thank you. They're professional pilots and they're paid to do that, and they land at the wrong airfield, including military people too as well, not just commercial pilots. And these guys are professionals, right? It happens. That's one, right? Two. One time I almost landed at a taxiway and I didn't. I caught it. It was funny.
Oh,
too,
we
when I
saw
caught
that. Yeah,
but-
it was hilarious. By
And
the way,
one time I
Zato
took
Zato
off on-
Flies does a great job.
Oh,
Zato
yeah,
Flies
Zato
does a great job.
One time, the one I took off on a taxiway, I was flying the what's his name? The 767 in Microsoft, man, by what's his face, the one that we hate, love to hate, the Captain Sim.
Hmm.
And it was raining, it was wet, and it was whatever. And I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, why is he backtracking on my runway? He was on the taxiway, by the way. And chat's going, and that's what people don't understand, right? You're streaming. If you're just flying at home by yourself, you have 100% concentration on that flight and your checklist. You're streaming, you're looking at chat constantly because you're interacting with chat. You have to, people are making comments. You want to catch it. You want to talk to them. That's what keeps people coming back. You just like go send a line. You know what I mean? And of course, you screw up and make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? That's it. And guess what? I own up every single one of them. I'm not gonna pretend like it never happened. It did happen. Absolutely. And we laughed about it. Like, yo, did we take off on a taxiway? Yes, you did. And that's it. So it's not like trying to be funny or trying to generate controversy or whatever, because as in anything in life, you'll do 99 flights good, and then in one flight you do bad. That's everything that everybody knows you for.
And that's the viral one, right? That's the only one that
That's the
people knows you
viral
for.
one,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's the
So
viral one.
it's all love, man. It's all love, man.
It's
Yeah.
yeah. I
Like,
just
what's
wanted
your
I
grass
just
on
wanted
road? Yeah.
I just wanted to put that out because it's like, look, man, XP is not the only person that makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, right? A lot of times I am able to get away with a lot of mistakes that I make, and I'm able to. I don't even mention it in chat. Like per se, I have my friend Bobby Hoskin, aka Pedals, in chat, right? He's always quick to point out all my mistakes. I think he does it in purpose, right? I don't know why. He probably hates me. I know he loves me deep inside, but he probably hates me. And he'll put it in chat. He'll be like, CST, did you fly with that switch on the whole flight? Right? And I'm like, ignore him. I'm not even gonna. And then he'll say it again, right? And I'm like, God, Bobby, shut up. I know, I
Remember,
know,
everybody in chat is your co-pilot. And
100%.
they'll be yelling at you, gear, 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 and you're like so locked in.
Oh,
You're like,
oh
I'm gonna
yeah,
get this landing, and then you're like,
oh
that's what I
yeah.
love.
No,
What's
but
good about the flight sim community is the chat interaction, and you're like telling you, dude, your APU is on still. Oh, sorry, dude,
yep,
you didn't turn on your landing lights. Oh, thank you.
I've
You know
done
what I mean?
that.
You didn't.
Take off with the
Oh yeah,
APU on, take off with
yeah,
no landing light, with no takeoff lights. I mean,
yeah,
you name it, right? Landed with
yeah.
no gear. I've done that. I wasn't
Oh
streaming,
yeah,
fortunately, but I've done it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Backseat
yeah,
driver. Yeah,
it
it's true.
happens. It
But
happens.
yeah, look, man, you can't take this thing seriously. If you take this thing seriously, if you go back and look at every stream you have done, and you realize that none of them are perfect, you just can't get upset at it. You go back and do it better the next day. That's it. None of our streams are perfect.
And
Not mine anyway.
it's never
No, it's
perfect.
never is. There's always something you could do better.
I always look
Something
at
you
my
could
stream.
add.
I always look at my and call me weird, but I look at all my streams after I do them. The
I
next
do.
day, I'm looking at them,
I look at the landings. I look at the landing.
and
Dude, remember,
that's
all these airplanes we fly are meant to be flown by two people.
exactly.
We're one person with no checklist, no training, no schooling, and we're reading chat at the
And
same time.
chat,
It's like
yeah, and
exactly.
chat.
It's like you're texting and flying.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what it is. You're reading text, and doing all this stuff, and manage to get it to the other airport okay most of the time. So, or when my mic is muted for like 5 minutes and I don't
Yeah,
know.
there you go. I was gonna say, Bill just said my favorite is you're muted. You know how many times I've done that? Sometimes I sneeze or cough, so I mute my microphone, and then there I am doing this number, talking to chat, right? And, and they're like, "You muted, you muted." I'm like, "Oh, damn it, I'm muted."
Yeah, man.
But
Yeah.
anyways,
Oh,
well,
good man.
XP, I don't want to take any more of your time. I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. I know you said you only had a certain amount of time, and you already gave us probably almost double of what I asked, what you promised me. So I really do appreciate you hanging out with us today. Thank you, everybody in chat that came by and said what's up. Thank you for the questions. Um, I good friend. I consider you a good friend. Um, obviously somebody that I've been watching for a long time. And I don't want to this. I'm not going to say this to sound weird, all right? But when I first started getting into this flight simulation business, the last thing I thought I was going to be able to do is talk to XP72 or talk to Blue Games or talk to Captain Canada, right? It's like you look at people like that, right? And you're like, this guy only knows me as a scrolling name on the chat, right? So to actually sit down with somebody like you that has been to a certain point an inspiration, right? Watching you stream, like, hey, I want to do that, right? Watching you, watching Captain Counter, watching Blue Games, watching those people, and it's like, that's what I want to do. right? That's uh, and you take the good and the bad, right? Because we all do good things, we all do not so good things, right? And you say, you know what, I'm gonna do that. Lesson learned, yada yada yada, and I guess the point I'm trying to make is, again, I'm sounding weird. I don't want to sound weird. I really do appreciate you, because you could well said, "No, look, I don't have any time. I'm sorry, buddy. See you next." So I do appreciate. I'm very humbled of you actually saying yes. Let's do it. Let's sit down. Let's talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. Let's start, ask me questions and all the good stuff. And I truly do appreciate it. So I will close with that. Thank you, everybody in chat, for stopping by. Thank you for all the questions, and I will let you have the last word for the chat with a little bit of outro music going in the background.
No, thank you, man. You stepped up and you said, "Hey, XB XYZ." I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." And that's the flight sim community that we have now, and I hope we can keep it like that, where everything is open to everybody. Nobody's got an attitude. Nobody feels that they're better or bigger than anybody else. And I thank you for the invite to allow me to come and talk and say yes, yes. See you guys tomorrow. Take care. Have a good one. Peace out. See ya.
Peace.